Hey, boys and girls, this will be your homework for this week. I will do a few of these. We're comparing fractions. So when you're comparing fractions, you're thinking of trying to figure out which fraction is bigger. So for example, they gave us 2/5 is equal to 4/10. So we know that if you multiply 5 times 2, you get 10. So you have to multiply the top by 2 as well. And we do that, we get 4. So that lets us know that these two fractions are equal because I can multiply top and bottom by the same thing. And the other way you can check to see if fractions are equivalent is you can find a common denominator. So to find my least common denominator of 5 and 10, I would just write multiples of 5 and 10, or I could think of something that I can multiply both 5 and 10 by that'll get me that number. So I know I can multiply 5 by 2 to get 10, and I can multiply 10 by 1 to get 10 as well. So that would tell me that 10 would be my LCD. Okay. Okay, so if I do that, I know that. But if I didn't know that 10 was it, I could write my multiples for 5 and 10. So if I go down, then my next multiple for 5 is 10. So once you find something in common on both sides, then you know that's going to be your LCD. So I see 10 here and I see 10 here, so I know 10 would be my LCD, or my least common multiple, which is going to be my LCD. So I know that something over 10, and then it'll be something over 10. Well, I know that this side already has a 10, so I'll just keep my 4 as my numerator. But this side didn't have a 10 at first. It had a 5. So I need to say, okay, well, what will I do to 5 to get me 10? And I know that I multiply it by 2 because I've already done that. So if I multiply that by 2, I also multiply the top by 2, which would be 2 times 2 is 4. So that would tell me that 4/10 is equivalent to 4/10 because they would both be 4/10. Okay, so that's that. And the other way that we can check to see which fraction is bigger is to cross multiply. So if I cross multiply, or we also call it the butterfly method, because when we do this, it looks like a butterfly. You don't have to do that every time. Once you get used to it, then you could just write your numbers above here. But I do this just to show you. So 2 times 10 gives you 20. So this side is 20. And then 5 times 4 gives you 20. So this side is 20 as well. So that tells me that these two fractions are equivalent. All right, so let's look at number 1. So if I look at these, I have 3/4 and 6/8. Well, the first thing I want to do is try to see if I can use benchmark. So I would say, okay, it's just half. When fractions are half, they're easier you could tell whether it's bigger or smaller. So I can't use half on this because 3 isn't half of 4 and 6 isn't half of 8. So now I can ask myself, okay, well, is there something I can multiply the top and the bottom by? Or is there something I can multiply by 4 to get 8? Well, I can. I know I can multiply 2 by 4 to get 8. So then, can I do that to 3? I can do 3 times 2 to get 6. So that tells me that these two fractions are equivalent as well. And then I could go back and check it by cross multiplying if I wanted to. So 4 times 6 is 24. And 3 times 8 is also 24. So these two fractions are equivalent or equal. So your equal sign would just go there. Don't worry about putting it over here on this side. Okay, the next one. So I have 2/3 and 1/5. Well, 2/3, I know that I can't use benchmark because this is not half. 2 is not half of 3, and 1 is not half of 5. So I can't compare them using that. So now I can say, well, is there something I can multiply 3 by to get 5? Nope, I can't do that. There's nothing I can multiply 3 by to get 5. So there are two things that I can do. I can either find my least common multiple between 3 and 5. So I can start listing my multiples for 3 and 5. So my first multiple for 3, of course, is 3. My next one is 6. My next one is 9. Then 12. Then 15. I like to probably do 5 of them first, just on each side, till I find it. So I do 5 for the smallest number. Done already? Or one test? Or two? One. Then I'll do 5, my multiples of 5 over here. So 5, and then 10, and then 15. Okay, well, once I see something that I already have over here, I know that I found my least common multiple. So that's going to be my new denominator, 15. See you in a little bit. So 15 is going to be my LCD, my least common denominator, for both of these fractions. So it's going to be something over 15 and something over 15. So I have to find out what the numerators will be now. So for this one, I need to ask myself, okay, what do I do to 3 to get 15? Well, I know I can look at my multiples and see. So that was one group of 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can multiply by 5. So if I multiply the bottom by 5, I also have to multiply the top by 5. So that will give me 10 as my new numerator over here. And then if I ask myself, what do I multiply by 5 to get 15? Well, I know that's going to be 3. Because as you see here, this is the third group of 5s. So 3 times 5 gives me 15. So I also have to do the top by 3 to get my new numerator for this side. So that's going to be 3. So now I have both my denominators the same. It's easy to compare my fractions. So I know that 10 fifteenths is greater than 3 fifteenths because 10 is bigger than 3. So, I'm sorry, I turned my sign the wrong way. So my greater than sign needs to be facing this way because 10 fifteenths is greater than 3 fifteenths. And then, of course, I could check it by cross multiplying. So 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 2 is 10. So 10 is bigger than 3. So that lets me know that this fraction is bigger. So my sign would be just like that. All right, let's do number 3. Just going to do a few of these, and then you can try to do the rest of them on your own. So for this one, I could look at this and see that this is half. I could think about benchmark. 6 is half of 12. Then I look over here, and this is 6/8, and I know that 4 would be half of 8. So this is 6, so that's more than half. So that means this fraction would be bigger because this is only half, but this is greater than half, so this fraction is greater. And then, of course, I could cross multiply to check it. 12 times 6 is 72. 6 times 8 is 48. And 72 is bigger than 48. And I could also, if I didn't want to do either one of those methods, I could do finding my LCD. So I could find my least common denominator for 8 and 12. So if I list my multiples of 8, I have 16, I have 24, I would have 32, and then 40. Those are my first 5 multiples of 8. Then I will come over here and list my first 5 multiples of 12, or at least until I get something in common. 12, 24. Okay, once I do that, guess what? I see 24 over here as well. So I know that 24 is going to be my LCD. So 24 needs to be my denominator now for both of these. Then I can compare them easier. So 20, something over 24, something over 24. So I need to find my numerators for both of these now. So I need to ask myself, what do I do to 12 to get 24? Well, I know if I multiply 12 by 2, that'll give me 24. So I also have to do by 2 up here to get my numerator. So 2 times 9 is 18. Then I need to say, well, what can I do to 4 I'm sorry. Am I on the wrong one? Yeah, I'm on the wrong one. I'm supposed to be up here. Sorry. So 12, what do I do to 12 to get 24?
Morning, Eagles.
Times
Today
2.
Tuesday,
So I need to do times
December
2
the
up
5th,
here.
2023.
That's going to give me
And
12.
I have
Sorry.
some
So
special guests today from.
I'm going to rewrite this.
Where are you
Sorry,
from?
announcements are on, but just try to ignore that.
And your name is?
So I need to do times 2. That gives me
And
12.
your
So I
name
have
is?
12 up here.
Let us
Then
all stand for the pledge.
Over here, I need to ask myself what I do to 8 to get 24,
Let
and I
us
multiply
all
by 3.
recite the pledge together.
So I do this by 3. 6 times 3 gives me 18. So 12 24ths and 18 24ths. I know that 12 24ths is less than 18 24ths. So my sign is opening to the bigger side. So that shows you that's 3 ways that I could figure out to compare these fractions, these 2 fractions. And I will do 1 more, maybe 2 more. Let's see. 2/5.
Now let's recite the school.
Good morning, y'all.
I pledge today to do my best in reading, math,
All right, so for this one, 2/5, I can't do benchmark because 2 is not half of 5 and 10 is not half of 12. So that won't work. Actually, I could do this because if I look at 2/5, I know that 2 is less than half of 5 because half of 5 I know would be 2.5. So this is under a half. But this 10/12, well, half of 12 is 6. So this is way over a half. It's almost a whole. So that means this side would be bigger. So that side would be bigger. And then I could do cross multiplying to check. 2 times 12 is 24. And 5 times 10 is 50. So this side is more than this side. And I could also find my LCD if I wanted to. So I could do 5, list my multiples for 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. Well, I know that 5 and 6 are not going to be multiples of each. I can't find the LCD. I can, but it's going to be a while. So what I'll have to do to make it easier, I could just multiply 5 times 12 because there's nothing. I'm recording a video, so I'll do it in just a second. As soon as I get finished with this. No, you're fine. So 5 times 12 is 60. So what is it? Going to be something less than that. Let me just list them just to make sure. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'll stop right there. So I know there's nothing I can do by 12 that's going to get me any of these. 12, 24, 36, 48. Yeah, it's not going to be until I get to 60 that I'm going to have something incoming over here. So it is going to be 60. So 12 times 5 is 60. So 60 would be my LCD, or my least common denominator. So it's going to be something over 60 on both sides. So I know I could do 12 times 6. I'm sorry, I keep going down. I'm up here. I could do 6 times. Oh, no, I'm right here. Gosh. 5 times 6. 5 times, what is 60? 5 times 12 is 60. So 5 times 12 here. So I need to do times 12 up here. That'll give me 24. And then 12 times 5 is 60. So I need to do times 5 up here. And that'll give me 50. So I know that 24 60s is less than 50 60ths. So this side is bigger. So that's just the 3 things I did to check it, to find my LCD. So to find which fraction is bigger, all right, to compare the fraction. So I did that. And the last one I'll do is 5 6 and 5 12ths. Well, I definitely know that 5 is close to 6. So this is almost a whole. I just need 1 more. So this is way more than a half. And I know that 5 12ths, well, 6 is half of 12. So 5, it would be less than half. So that means this one would be bigger. I could cross multiply to check it. 5 times 12 is 60. And 6 times 5 is 30.